Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand for the arrival of their Excellencies, the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia and Lady Cosgrove.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, our beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you. Please be seated. Your Excellency, to be presented with the insignia of her appointment as a companion in the General Division, Dr. Susan Alberti, for eminent service to the community, particularly through philanthropic and fundraising support for a range of medical research, education and sporting organisations, and as an advocate for improved health care services for the disadvantaged, as well as to young women, and as a role model and mentor. Dr. Alberti is one of the most generous and hard-working people in the field of philanthropy in Australia. One of her greatest strengths is her ability to engage people and to influence these relationships to support organisations who are working to make our society a better place in which to live. She's a passionate advocate and fundraiser who demonstrates extraordinary compassion for others. The impact of Dr. Alberti's dedication and commitment serves to inspire others to join her, and she can be regarded as an example of the very best of who we are. Dr. Susan Alberti, appointed a Companion of the Order.
Good morning. There we go. You don't get away that easily, of course. Yeah. So congratulations, of course, from everybody in the room and from Australia. You've got a medical research foundation, and you've also got a foundation, I would think, for wider philanthropy.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yes. And you also were very, very active in the field of junior diabetes, fundraising for that. Yes. What a wonderful thing to try to jump on that particular pernicious condition in the young. And from 2012 you've been Vice President of the Western Bulldogs.
Yes, for my sins. For my sins. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Appointed a Companion in the General Division, Professor Chenapati Jagadish, for eminent service to physics and engineering, particularly in the field of nanotechnology, to education as a leading academic, researcher, author and mentor, and through executive roles with national and international scientific advisory institutions. Professor Jagadish is one of Australia's most accomplished and preeminent scientists. He's worked tirelessly for his discipline and for the broader good of science and technology at the national and international level. His understanding of material physics and his work in optical communication systems and digital printing is widely used in both industry and defence across the globe. Similarly, his pioneering research has led to many scientific firsts, including the creation of one of the smallest lasers in the world. Professor Jagadish is indeed someone of whom our whole nation can be extremely proud. Professor Chenapati Jagadish, appointed a companion of the Order.
Good morning. Yeah. Now, you've mentored over 40 students for doctorates and over 44 postdoctorate fellowships and attachments. You've authored 550 peer-reviewed papers and 250 peer-reviewed, refereed other papers and publications, and you co-authored a book. That's wonderful. And this is all, I imagine, to do with your particular expertise, which is absolutely coming of age here in this nation of ours. So we're very proud to have you, but we're also very lucky to have you. And just as a little add-on, we've inserted by nanotechnology a symphony orchestra in your AC, and it will play for you as you...
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you.
Appointed a companion in the General Division, Emeritus Professor Mary O'Kane. For eminent service to science and engineering as a contributor to national policy development and governance, to the promotion of technology research and future energy supply, to higher education, and as a role model for young scientists. Professor O'Kane has made an outstanding and lasting contribution to Australia's well-being through her intellect, tenacity and commitment. She's been involved in addressing nationally significant issues which have stimulated Australia's research innovation, energy and higher education policies and international development. Her efforts have not only benefited our community, but many people throughout the world, and she is an exemplar to young women and early career researchers. Professor O'Kane is truly worthy of this high national recognition. Emeritus Professor Mary O'Kane, appointed a companion of the Order.
Good morning. Congratulations. Now, the citation spoke about being a role model for women, but you've been the Chief Scientist and Engineer for New South Wales since 2008, is that right?
That's correct.
And that's a wonderful and very public position for you to reach out to all those young women who are in science or wish to be. And I think it's the most wonderful role model that you could provide. Your life is full of example that you've given to others. But one point, of course, is I think you're chair of the advisory board to the Defence Science and Technology Organisation.
I was on the advisory board.
On the advisory board, all right. Well, that contribution would have been deeply appreciated, of course, at a time when the Defence Force is absolutely flat out and looking for technology to assist its missions. So, again, congratulations. Thank you.
Appointed a companion in the General Division, Emeritus Professor Robert Ouvrier. For eminent service to medicine, particularly to the discipline of paediatric neurology, through pioneering efforts in neuromuscular research, to a range of medical professional organisations at the national and international level, and as an author and educator. Professor Ouvrier is a leading paediatrician who has committed his professional life to this specialty through his exceptional service in the areas of clinical practice, research, teaching and leadership. He has made significant research contributions and is internationally renowned not only for his work, but also for bringing together medical professionals from around the world. Professor Ouvrier sets a sterling example of someone who is dedicated to the enhancement of the health, welfare and potential of children, as well as to the training of the next generation of child neurologists. An example to us all. Emeritus Professor Robert Ouvrier, appointed a companion of the Order.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Congratulations. Now, you've been at it a while, but you were the you were the founder of the Neuroscience Research Institute at Westmead, and that was also neuromuscular research. Yeah, and that's tremendous. I mean, Westmead's one of the great hospitals of this nation, and to think that you were setting up that tremendous program there, and no doubt you are still absorbed in all that. And you've been recognised twice by France.
Yes, sir.
You got an earlier award from the French government, and then the Legion d'Honneur not so long ago.
Yes.
Well, we've trumped them.
Thank you.
Appointed a companion in the General Division, His Honour Chief Judge John Pascoe, for eminent service to the law and to the judiciary through support for improved access to the justice system for Indigenous peoples, to legal administration and higher education, and as an advocate for the prevention of international trafficking of children. Chief Judge Pascoe is a person of enormous depth and capacity who maintains a strong and practical commitment to those less fortunate in society, whilst also successfully navigating the highest levels of justice and commerce. He has presided over the transition of the Federal Magistrates Court to the Federal Circuit Court and the expansion of its role as an intermediate trial court, applying his unique blend of expert legal and administrative skills to that task. His work in the prevention of child trafficking and his promotion of reconciliation go far beyond his usual role. Chief Judge Pascoe is a truly remarkable individual worthy of our high praise. His Honour Chief Judge John Pascoe appointed a companion of the Order.
Well, good morning, Your Honour. How are you?
Thank you.
I'll turn you this way. Here we go. Thank you. Give me a hand. Thank you. Now, of course, a lot of people think that judges are pretty much confined to chambers and the process of their work, but folks like you, we've heard the wonderful contribution you've made to law in Australia, but what's less obvious, and I'm going to just announce it now, that you were chairman of the Duke of Edinburgh's Awards for quite a long time, 12 years or something of that nature. And you're still current in the Cambodian Children's Fund.
Yes.
And I guess that links into some of the issues that were mentioned as part of your work in the citation.
Yes.
Well, we all admire you and we thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appointed an officer in the General Division, Mr Andrew Clark, for distinguished service to public administration, to communications and energy policy initiatives and reform, and to the spatial information industry. Mr Clark has made a major contribution to public administration in Australia. His inspirational leadership has helped shape departmental cultures. He's known for his ability to build mutually respectful relationships that allow frank and open conversations by all parties, resulting in robust debate on all issues and ultimately well-informed policy reform. Mr Clark is widely regarded by his peers, and the application of his vast knowledge and skills have been hallmarks of his exceptional service. Mr Andrew Clark, appointed an officer of the Order.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. I'll call you. No, you don't go yet. No, you stand there so I can berate you. Yeah, we don't berate anybody here. Look, you've been secretary of 2 departments already, long career in the public service, and all of this, and you're a cartographer by background. Yeah, that's right. This man's a droggy. Where's the Navy? Yes. If you were a sailor, you'd be a hydrographer, but you're a cartographer. But you're charting the course for the government now, working very closely with the Prime Minister, and we congratulate you for your service, and we wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you very much.
Appointed an officer in the General Division, Emeritus Professor Peter Drysdale, for distinguished service to Australia-Asia trade and economic relations, particularly with Japan, and to public policy development, to education, and as a mentor of young economists. As one of our leading economists, Professor Drysdale has dedicated many years of service to improving our understanding of and relationship with our nearest neighbours, so that we can strengthen and develop economic and foreign policy outcomes and our cultural connections. Professor Drysdale is also an outstanding educator, researcher and mentor. He's renowned for his astonishing capacity for work, his drive, initiative and integrity. Emeritus Professor Peter Drysdale, appointed an Officer of the Order.
Good morning. Now, you're known to be the intellectual father of APEC, which we all consider to be a wonderful structure in our region, and to think that it was your sort of thought mastery that drew people towards that concept, and not an easy one for a whole raft of nations to join in. That was wonderful work, and we're so proud that you were involved in that. But you're also a bit of an international man. You've worked at Stanford, Columbia and Yale on fellowships and the like. So no wonder you're regarded so highly in the international community. And of course today, Australia recognises you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your contribution.
Appointed an Officer in the General Division, Mr Tony Negus, for distinguished service to public administration, particularly through senior law enforcement roles, to governance reform and to national and international interagency counter-terrorism cooperation. Mr Negus provided outstanding leadership as Commissioner of the Australian Federal Police during a period of unprecedented growth and increased global security threats. He demonstrated a long and sustained contribution to law enforcement, maintaining strong and cooperative partnerships with key counter-terrorism, security and regulatory agencies. Under Mr Negus' stewardship, the AFP also undertook several successful operations overseas under challenging conditions. Mr Tony Negus, appointed an Officer of the Order.
Good morning and welcome home.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll bet when you joined the AFP in 1982, you didn't ever expect that it would have such a huge expansion of roles and numbers, and the quality of your people is just outstanding. And leaders always take the knocks, but they should take the credit when it's offered. And in this case, I think the whole nation is so much for the better in its safety and security because the AFP is just so good. I noticed that you've managed to nurture the relationship so strongly with the Indonesians that they've awarded you, asked you to receive one of their high policing acknowledgements, and that's again a feather in the cap of you for establishing the relationship. Well done, Tony.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you.
Appointed an Officer in the General Division, the Honourable Dr Brendan Nelson, for distinguished service to the Parliament of Australia, to the community, to the advancement of Australia's international relations and to major cultural institutions. Dr Nelson is a passionate Australian who has excelled in all of his endeavours on behalf of our nation. As a Member of Parliament, he ably and energetically served the people of Bradfield for over 13 years and undertook a range of important ministerial and leadership roles. Dr Nelson represented Australia diligently and successfully on the international stage and has achieved outstanding results as the head of our treasured Australian War Memorial. The Honourable Dr Brendan Nelson, appointed an Officer of the Order.
Good morning.
Good morning.
That's good. Yep.
Thank you.
I'd be exhausted if I went through your CV, but he left out the AMA, that was in the middle 90s, then into Parliament, and then a minister for a long period of time, leader of the opposition when your party passed into opposition, and then it was off to be our ambassador to NATO, Belgium, Luxembourg. Have I left anything out? That's, I got them? Okay. European Union. Oh, of course, just throw that in.
Never forget them.
And now an eminent role as the Director of the Australian War Memorial in a particularly important period to all Australians. So it's a wonderful credit to you, Brendan. You're a polymath of a man, and you're an eminent Australian, and you continue to make a great contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard.
Appointed a member in the General Division, Mr Joseph Forshaw, for significant service to ornithology as an author and researcher and as a contributor to a range of wildlife conservation organisations. Mr Forshaw is a highly regarded ornithologist who has been influential in his field for over 40 years. He has published an impressive range of authoritative reference books and is considered as one of the world's leading ornithological experts. Mr Forshaw's meticulous research, passion and dedication have had a profound effect on the conservation of parrots, both nationally and internationally. Mr Joseph Forshaw appointed a member of the Order.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This way. You've been at this for some time.
Yes, most of my life.
Not yet, there's more to go. 7 books. I think you were secretary to the 16th World Conference in 1974.
Yes, yes,
And before that you chaired a working group on parrots
that's right, yes,
in another international forum.
yes,
I'd like to talk to you later about our sulphur-crested cockatoos here.
yes. You and a lot of others.
Birds are part of our heritage here. We love the idea that we're a continent where there are so many bird types, and you're the sort of person who just enriches our culture. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appointed a member in the General Division, Emeritus Professor Hartmut Kabernik, for significant service to the manufacturing sciences through the promotion and advancement of life cycle engineering product design. Professor Kabernik is an outstanding mechanical engineer with a professional background of over 45 years in industry, research and tertiary education. He's been at the forefront of the development and implementation of industrial robotics, manufacturing automation and sustainability, and laser technologies. Professor Kabernik is a person of quite remarkable achievement. Emeritus Professor Hartmut Kabernik appointed a member of the Order.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yep. This way, this way. Now, you've had a wonderful career, a very long stint at University of New South Wales, I'm pretty sure, one of the world's best universities, of course. And you headed up the manufacturing division of CSIRO in Sydney for a fair while.
Yes.
And you're the author of 133 contributions to publications and some books as well. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, keep it up. I hope you've got lots of energy because we need you. Well done.
Okay,
Thank you.
Appointed a member in the General Division, Mr Mark Thompson, for significant service to science as a satellite communications engineer through program management and design. Mr Thompson has an enviable track record of achievement in the development, support and management of complex communications projects. In doing this, he has strongly and successfully represented the Commonwealth's interests. Mr Thompson's greatest contribution has been in the design, provision and evaluation of world-class satellite communication systems for both civilian and military application. Mr Mark Thompson, appointed a member of the Order.
Good morning. How are you going?
Good, very well, you.
Yep, I'm fine. Now, I think you first sort of came to the attention of the sort of technical community in Australia with your participation. You're in fact a very big role in the fielding of OSAT.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's right.
And more recently it's the Mobile International
National
Satellite.
Broadband Network.
That's it. And well, just a wonderful thing.
Right.
So you're one of those geeks that we really, really admire,
Proud to
and
be.
we really need you.
Right.
So you've been recognised here now. Well done. Please
Thank
keep
you,
up
really.
that work.
Thank you very
Cheers.
much.
Appointed a member in the Military Division, Group Captain Stephen Edgley. For exceptional service in the field of Joint Battlefield Airspace Control for the Australian Defence Force. Group Captain Edgley's exceptional service has produced enduring benefits for this nation's air traffic management network and our Defence Force's capability. His skill and perseverance has been crucial in the delivery of an improved framework governing civil aviation access to military air bases. Group Captain Edgley's dedication to the personnel of No. 44 Wing is also of the highest order. Group Captain Stephen Edgley, appointed a member of the Order.
Good morning. Congratulations. You've been in the Air Force how long?
30 years.
30 years. Oh, you look too young to that. You must have straight out of preschool. Look, I see from your uniform that you've been places and done things and been recognised for them, but this award, which is sits around your service to air traffic control in the services, is just a wonderful thing. They have got a wonderful reputation internationally. And the other thing I noticed that you were selected for only the second Australian to attend at the time a very prestigious US Air Force school. And that's also a testament to your acumen and a credit to you. Well done.
Thank you.
Appointed a member in the Military Division, Group Captain Sandra Riley. For exceptional service to the Australian Defence Force through her contribution to the development and deployment of the aeromedical evacuation capability. Group Captain Riley has made a significant contribution to Australia's ability to provide in-flight healthcare and to transport specialist medical facilities anywhere in the world for personnel injured in the line of duty. Her vision, drive and dedication to this important strategic capability have had a positive impact on the morale and welfare of members of the Australian Defence Force. Group Captain Sandra Riley, appointed a member of the Order.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Excellency.
Now, you entered the Air Force in 1988 and soon after were commissioned as a nursing officer. Okay, and the particular thing I think we're referring to here is the wonderful work you did making the fairly new C-17 major Air Force transport aircraft, making it over and getting it ready for Australians to use theirs for aeromedical evacuation. It's a big deal because it's such a giant aeroplane and a wonderful asset. But I think you have looked along the path of over 500 medical evacuations of Australians for one reason and another, going to places like Germany and then back to Australia.
Yes.
Well, I think you're a bit of an angel of mercy and we're also a true professional. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Ms Diana Abdul Rahman. For service to the community, through a range of multicultural organisations. As a well-respected member of the local community, Ms Abdul Rahman has actively engaged with government and other organisations to support those in need, particularly new refugee arrivals. Ms Abdul Rahman has also been instrumental in establishing Canberra's peak multicultural body, as well as being a dedicated local multilingual radio station supporter. Ms Diana Abdul Rahman awarded the Medal of the Order.
Good morning, Diana. How are you?
How are you?
I'm very well. There we go.
Thank you very much.
Now, you're the inaugural president of the radio station. That's a one. What's the name of the radio station?
It's called Australian Muslim Voice Radio.
What frequency?
It's in 99.1.
There we are.
Only
We're all
in the month of Ramadan.
except for Ramadan.
all
Yeah.
Ramadan.
And the Arab Australian Women's Dialogue, is that right?
Yes, we've had that too. And I've also established the Canberra Islamic Centre. I was the original person.
Yep. And you've also been very deeply, you're an active member of the Muslim-Christian Dialogue.
Yes.
That's a wonderful thing.
Fantastic.
There should be more of you. We hope there are more, so congratulations.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mr Darryl Dobson, for service to the community of Pambula. Mr Dobson is a highly respected member of the Pambula community. He brings enterprise and vision to his many and varied roles, and his participation in a range of volunteer organisations is exemplary. Mr Dobson gives freely of his time and energy, and his commitment to public life has been far in excess of the usual call. He epitomises service above self. Mr Darryl Dobson awarded the Medal of the Order.
Good morning. This is being streamed to Pambula, you understand
I
that?
understand
Yeah.
that, sir.
Now, you've done a lot of this through Rotary, and I see you're a Paul Harris Fellow. And I think you've done things like skate parks, aquatic centres, cricket nets, bus shelters, and support to the victims of the Queensland floods. That's some of the projects, yeah. So people like you are the glue of communities, and you should be so proud, and I know that Pambula's most proud of you. Well done.
Thank you.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Ms Maureen Hartung, for service to education and to the community of the Australian Capital Territory. Ms Hartung has been an enthusiastic and articulate advocate for the local independent school system. She's an outstanding educator, dedicated to raising professional standards, as well as establishing and championing innovative and collaborative learning environments. Ms Hartung's efforts have had a major impact on children's development and knowledge in Canberra, and today we acknowledge her. Ms Maureen Hartung awarded the Medal of the Order.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well, thanks.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Okay. Now, you are the founder of the Blue Gum Community School. As I understand the concept, you try to test kids in a benign environment and find out what their particular aptitudes are, and then obviously enhance those aptitudes. A wonderful thing. And I think you also worked in the sort of formal structure as on the professional standards side of the Teacher Institute here in Canberra. So you've been a contributor in a sort of a focused way and also across the board.
Fingers everywhere.
Fingers everywhere, all right. Well, may your fingers continue to work. Well done.
Thank you.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, the late Mrs Mari Lennon, to be accepted by her daughter, Mrs Ross Tormey,
Just hold that up, so.
for service to floral art. Mrs Lennon was for over 40 years an outstanding figure in the floral art world, not only in the Canberra region but across Australia. She was a highly respected designer and judge and dedicated herself to others by generously sharing her skills and experience. Mrs. Lennon's ambassadorial roles for her craft, her mentorship of aspiring young artists was truly remarkable. Mrs. Ross Tormey accepts the award of the Medal of the Order on behalf of her late mother, Mrs. Marie Lennon.
Good morning. Now you take hold of that and we'll face the camera. Well, the CV for your dear late mum reads wonderfully. She was a judge for New South Wales for 40 years, over 40 years.
Yeah.
And she won an award, gold medal, in 2002 in a world show as late as that. So she's up there now looking down, smiling the fact that you're getting that. Yeah. And today we remember her most warmly.
Okay,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Miss Patricia McCabe, for service to veterans and their families. Ms McCabe has devoted herself to representing and championing the cause of past and present members of our Defence Force who have suffered a total and permanent disability. Her advice, guidance and involvement in policy development have been instrumental to the betterment of the lives of disabled veterans nationwide. Ms Patricia McCabe awarded the Medal of the Order.
Good morning. Now, you've been frantically busy the last few years. You've been in other roles, but National President of the TPI Federation in the last couple of years. And also you've been a long-term member, but the ACT President of the Naval Association and a National Councillor for the Naval Association. So you epitomise the sort of veteran that the community looks to for leadership and representation of that wonderful veterans community, and you're doing them credit. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mr Brian McConnell, for service to the community through drug and alcohol support services. Mr McConnell has been a strong advocate for drug law reform for over 20 years. He's worked unstintingly to improve the lives of those affected by drug use and has also provided strong support to the families and friends who have lost loved ones. Mr McConnell's achievements demonstrate to us that one person rolling up their sleeves can make a difference. Mr Brian McConnell awarded the Medal of the Order.
Good morning, come here. There we go. I'm just going to position you because I can't see that far, you see.
Oh, yes. I have that problem myself.
Here we go. Well done. Now, you worked for Directions ACT on the drug and alcohol side for a while, yes, and then you've also been a volunteer in terms of support to families that find themselves in a poor position. And you've recently formed your own group, haven't you? What was that?
Well, Families and Friends for Drug Law Reform.
Families and Friends for Drug Law Reform. Okay, well, that's the sort of thing we expect in a vibrant and sort of energetic Australia. So well done to you. It's a very important thing for all families. Well done.
Thank you.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mr Jack Seeley, for service to the community, particularly through a range of veterans' welfare groups. Mr Seeley's compassion and empathy for veterans and their families in the Queanbeyan region is most noteworthy. Similarly, his contributions to the New South Wales Rural Fire Service stand out from those of other volunteers. Mr Seeley's unfaltering service to the community over many years is an inspiration to us all. Mr Jack Seeley awarded the Medal of the Order.
Good morning. No, we'll do that first then, okay? We'll do it again in a minute. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. You were in the RAAF during the war, aircrew? Okay.
10 squadron.
10 squadron, okay. That would be bomber squadron, would it, or maritime?
Flying boats.
Flying boats, gotcha, thank you. CDF put me straight there. Now, the other thing though is you've been in the Rural Fire Service for that Lake George zone since the 60s, right? What an enormous amount of dedication. And most recently, because you obviously thought, well, I should do more, you've been a member of Legacy, and I see that you're wearing your Legacy accoutrements today.
Yes, sir.
Well, you are the glue of society, and there should be lots more Jack Seeleys around, and please keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mr John Shaw, for service to local government and to the community. Mr Shaw has been active in the local government in the Southern Tablelands area for over 27 years. He has served with diligence and commitment in his roles as councillor and subsequently as Deputy Mayor and Mayor. Mr Shaw has demonstrated outstanding dedication by his preparedness to always go the extra mile for his community. Mr John Shaw awarded the Medal of the Order.
Good morning.
Good morning, Excellency.
You've been in the Gunning Show Society, I'm going to call it, but show and industrial, agricultural and industrial,
yes.
for a long, long time.
69,
Since 1969, he looks a bit young for it, but there we are, I'll take his word. And then, of course, you've been in local government for an enormous amount of time. You were Mayor of Gunning, and then when the renaming and rezoning came, you were Mayor of the new entity, and still are, is that right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And I think you particularly have contributed to arts and health and culture down in Gunning. Well, if Banjo was around here to write another poem about you, well done.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mr Arthur Tao, for service to the community through volunteering roles. Mr Tao has been an invaluable asset to the landmark attractions of Canberra through a range of volunteering roles. He's also made an enduring contribution to the training of other volunteers, which has in turn provided a quality experience for visitors to our cultural institutions. Mr Tao is a quiet achiever who has given back much to his community, and today we recognise him. Mr Arthur Tao awarded the Medal of the Order.
Morning. Yeah. Now, Mr Tao, not only are you a guide at the National Gallery in Old Parliament House, and we heard about how you've helped mentor and guide other guides to do what you do. What a wonderful volunteer spirit that is. But you were, in a long and illustrious career, became the Assistant Chief Architect at the Commonwealth Department of Housing back in those days. You must have some wonderful thoughts and stories to tell about.
Yes.
And most of that service would have been in Canberra?
Yes.
So, write a book. Okay, well done.
Thank you.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mr Peter Ward, for service to cross-country skiing. Mr Ward has been a stalwart of the cross-country skiing fraternity in New South Wales for many years. His management of events, his administration and governance skills, and his stewardship of committees have contributed greatly to the growth and popularity of the sport. Mr Ward is a unique individual who has added much to the winter sport scene in Australia. Mr John Ward awarded the Medal of the Order.
Good morning. Now, you were chairman for about 20 years, weren't you, of the New South Wales cross-country scheme? Yes?
That's true.
And you've been a long-time supporter of the Perisher Nordic Shelter.
Yes,
What's a Nordic shelter?
It's a day shelter for all cross-country skiers
Okay.
who come and have a rest.
And the last thing I wanted to dredge out of some notes that I was provided is that you are a great convener of cross-countries for schools. Is that running or skiing?
Skiing.
Oh, okay, just obviously I thought, well, they might be also running.
Inter-school competition.
Okay, and how often does that take place?
Every year.
Where do you get lots of entrants? Competitors?
500.
500 there. Skiing's alive and well. Well done.
Thanks, Peter.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Ms Judith Williams, for service to local government and to the community of Yass. Ms Williams has provided diligent and meritorious service to the people of the Yass district for almost 50 years. She's brought vision to her many roles, and her participation in medical and social welfare organisations and her contribution as a local government councillor have been outstanding. It's people like Ms Williams who are the backbone of regional Australia. Ms Judith Williams, awarded the Medal of the Order.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Now, you've been serving the community of Yass for a very long time. I think it was for 19 years Director of Nursing at Yass Hospital. And then managed Yass Hospital, and you've been Deputy Mayor on about a large number of occasions, either Deputy Mayor or Deputy Shire President in that time. And in all of that, you've been a wonderful adornment to... This is the sort of thing that makes beautiful country places sort of rate themselves and feel safe and looked after. Well done.
Thank you very much, sir.
Your Excellency, we turn to Distinguished Service Decorations. Awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, Major General Craig Orme. For distinguished command and leadership in warlike operations as Commander Joint Task Force 633 on Operation Slipper and Ochra from September 13 to December 14. General Orme distinguished himself as the Commander of Australian Forces in the Middle East region during a period of significant transition. He provided inspirational leadership to his staff during the cessation of combat operations in Afghanistan, in the closure of Australian activities in Tarin Kowt, and in the subsequent response to the security threat in Iraq. General Orme's commitment and calm demeanour during demanding warlike operations has guaranteed Australia's operational successes. Major General Craig Orme, awarded the Distinguished Service Cross.
Good morning, Craig. Well done, mate. Now, Craig, that said a great story of leadership and professional performance. But in particular, I noted that one of the things that you did that was to organise the Australian relief drop to the Yazidi people when they were under extreme pressure, and it looked like they could all perish through just lack of food. And of course their safety was a paramount issue. And also later on, under your leadership, urgent aid was dropped to the Peshmerga when they were similarly in a very needy position. These are two elements of what we see to be a confused and bloody war, but which nonetheless Australia has performed its role with great honour and effect. Well done.
Awarded the Commendation for Distinguished Service, Air Commodore Noel DeWart. For distinguished performance of duty in warlike operations as the Deputy Commander Joint Task Force 633 on Operation Slipper. Air Commodore DeWart provided distinguished performance of duty in a diverse and widely dispersed Joint Task Force. His practical advice and solutions to challenging sustainment and regional engagement issues and emerging crises was of the highest order and inspired confidence in those serving with him. Air Commodore Dewart's leadership contributed significantly to the Task Force's success in the Middle East region. Air Commodore Noel Dewart awarded the Commendation for Distinguished Service.
I think that citation says as much as many of the others do about the quality of your service in the Middle East, but I wanted to particularly remark upon the fact that the Australian ambassador in Baghdad, herself under significant pressures, valued immensely the advice that you were able to pass on to her about the military side of what was seen, and that indeed added great quality to the Australian appreciation of the problems in the Middle East. So well done.
Awarded the Commendation for Distinguished Service, Air Commodore Hayden Marshall. For distinguished performance of duties in warlike operations as the Deputy Commander Support Headquarters, Joint Task Force 633 on Operation Slipper from October 13 to November 14. Air Commodore Marshall distinguished himself through his superior leadership and management of a range of complex and demanding tasks during his tour of duty. He oversaw the retrograde of Australian forces from the multinational base at Tarankout and the establishment of enduring support mechanisms for Australia's ongoing commitment to Afghanistan. Air Commodore Marshall's contributions reflect highly on the Australian Defence Force. Air Commodore Hayden Marshall awarded the Commendation for Distinguished Service.
Now, in particular, with this drawdown, this is a very difficult thing for military forces to do while still performing operational missions to change their structure and some of their locations. And you take great credit for your oversight and leadership of aspects of that. But in particular, we were noticed by so many of our allies, and I note that you were invited as a representative of the Australian Defence Force to brief NATO in Brussels and ISAF in Afghanistan. And you obviously did so to great effect because our reputation in both of those areas is sky high. Well done.
Your Excellency, we turn to Conspicuous Service Decorations. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Lieutenant Colonel Jasmine Short. For outstanding achievement as the Staff Officer Grade 1 Transitions, Directorate of Soldier Career Management, Army Headquarters. Colonel Short led significant and visionary change to the administration mechanisms used to facilitate the transitioning of Army's personnel. Her dedication to duty has delivered initiatives that have directly improved the management of Army's most vulnerable soldiers, the sick, wounded and injured. Colonel Short's efforts have enhanced the Army's reputation as a diverse, inclusive and respectful workplace. Lieutenant Colonel Jasmine Short awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross.
Good morning, Jasmine. I think you graduated in 1989?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and here you are, Lieutenant Colonel, that's really good. And in particular, the, what do we call it, the MEC-RB, the review process for soldiers whose medical condition is other than fully fit, sometimes becomes very urgent, very critical, and it was your review and suggested changes to that which has resulted in great speedy interventions for people who are in a desperate position. So the Army has got every reason to thank you. Well done.
the Conspicuous Service Cross, Major Mitchell Watson, for outstanding achievement as the Officer Commanding D Squadron, 1st Armoured Regiment. Major Watson's command and leadership were pivotal in reforming his cavalry squadron into an armoured personnel carrier squadron as part of Plan Beersheba. His dedication, despite a diverse range of challenges, ensured the successful re-raising of the Army's 1st Armoured Personnel Carrier Squadron. Major Watson's contribution will have a positive and lasting impact on the Australian Army. Major Mitchell Watson awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross.
It's akin to running down the road in a sort of a marathon race, changing your trousers on the run. It's a re-rolling and re-equipping whilst moving is a tremendous challenge, and everybody looks at the reports in the newspapers of things happening in operational theatres, but behind the scenes are units that have to be prepared for their turn should it arise, to maintain their morale and to keep their training standards. And your training package was regarded in the brigade as the best training package, and the brigade commander decided everybody should copy the structure of your training package. Well done.
Thanks, sir.
Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Air Vice Marshal Kenneth Watson, for outstanding devotion to duty as Commander, Northern Command. Air Vice Marshal Watson's dedication to duty has enhanced border protection in the northern approaches of Australia. His commitment to his team has been exemplary, and their achievements have assisted in advancing the government's strategy to combat illegal immigration and prevent loss of life at sea. Air Vice Marshal Watson's actions under demanding circumstances have brought great credit upon himself. Air Vice Marshal Kenneth Watson awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross.
Good morning, how are you going? You joined the Air Force in '89? 1980, gee, I just moved it one digit, Right, yes, you are a bit older than that. Now, you're a P3 man, yes, and you had stints of duty in Butterworth and with the United States Navy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That Northern Command post is hugely important. Hardly a more sensitive command post in Australia for a fellow one-star rank, because of its need for ADF forces to participate seamlessly with the government's agenda. And you did very well. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir.
Awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal, Warrant Officer Class 2, Daniel Donald, for meritorious achievement as the Supervisor Separations within the Directorate of Soldier Career Management Army Headquarters. Warrant Officer Donald's meritorious achievements have directly enhanced the implementation of the highest soldier standards across Army. His keen strategic acumen has enabled effective communication with all levels of command. Warrant Officer Donald's mentorship of junior soldiers through personal example demonstrates the highest level of commitment to our Defence Force ethos. Warrant Officer Class 2, Daniel Donald, awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal.
Good morning. Just don't want to get it. There we go. Now it's safe. Here we go. Cheers. When did you join the Army? 88?
Yes, sir.
1988, and you became Warrant Officer Class 2 in 07?
Yes, sir.
And you've been in this sort of schema, Caro.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, you are actually one of the great agents in the Army's remorseless cultural change, and the fact that you have to lead a team which expedites people out who don't get the message, has been a very important part of the Army achieving its commitment to that change. So you're not a process worker, you're actually an agent of change, and you and your team can be very proud. Well done.
Thanks, sir.
Your Excellency, we turn to Meritorious Service Awards. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms Jean Dunn. For outstanding public service leading Australia's response in Ukraine to the downing of Malaysian Airlines flight MH17. Ms Dunn provided outstanding service under challenging circumstances as part of Australia's response to the Malaysia Airlines flight MH17 disaster. As our non-resident ambassador to Ukraine, she was charged with delivering the Australian government's response on the ground. Ms Dunn's efforts ensured the security of Australian investigators and observers, and also greatly assisted in the return home of the remains of Australian victims. Ms Jean Dunn awarded the Public Service Medal.
Hello, how are you going? Yep, that's safe. You were a very experienced diplomat when you were asked to do that job, but it's obviously a very unique situation for an ambassador to be thrown into at such short notice. And while that was an enormously sad time for this country, I think at every hand I spoke to people who admired our whole-of-nation response, which, being forward with Sir Angus Houston, you led, the two of you together. And I think that that was wonderful. I know that the whole process of getting the remains and dealing with governments and moving the remains of our people back to Australia so that their loved ones and the nation could mourn them appropriately was a tremendously important mission. We're very proud of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Awarded the Public Service Medal, Mr John Hinchy. For outstanding public service to the criminal justice system in the Australian Capital Territory. Mr Hinchy, throughout his long career, has been dedicated to improving the lives of the people of Canberra. In his role as the Victims of Crime Commissioner, he's a staunch advocate for those affected by crime and has worked tirelessly to develop policies and programs to assist them. Mr Hinchy, through his capacity to engage and advise, exemplifies outstanding public service. Mr John Hinchy awarded the Public Service Medal.
One of the great things about awards here at Yarralumla is that it picks up a lot of people who are, if you like, walking the national stage, and that's great. But we also deal with our wonderful local community. You've been a tremendous agent within that community. I think you're the first manager of the ACT Restorative Justice Unit. Yes. And you've fielded so many programs under that responsibility that it's sort of permeating the whole community. The ACT is a wonderful place, but like all communities, it needs to have fair, benign and appropriate justice, and I think you're a tremendous agent for it. Well done.
Thank you. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Mr Matthew James. For outstanding public service to social policy to improve the lives of Indigenous Australians. Mr James has worked to the highest standards of the public service over a number of years. His strong leadership, strategic thinking and thorough understanding of data collection and analysis systems have been crucial to the development of the government's policy framework for improving outcomes for Indigenous Australians. Mr James's dedication to this vital task has been of the highest order. Mr Matthew James awarded the Public Service Medal.
Good morning. Now, you were with the OECD in Paris for a while too, weren't you?
The delegation deals.
Yeah, did you enjoy that?
Loved it.
What's not to enjoy? Yes. You are one of those wonderful people that we fantasise about. You are one of those public servants who, in the diligence and the professionalism of your work, you are able to advise governments about what's working and not working in the policy sense. So you are the epitome of the frank and fearless advice. And all governments should have many more folks like you, but you're leading your branch in the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet with great authority and great effect. Well done.
Awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms Felicity McNeill. For outstanding public service in modernising and reforming the pharmaceutical benefits scheme. Ms McNeill's work has had a significant impact on the health and well-being of the Australian community. She has applied her intellectual strength and ability to find solutions to complex problems that have resulted in the development of new government policies relating to the pricing and access to medicines. Ms McNeill's achievements in this field have helped to provide us with a world-class pharmaceutical assistance model. Ms Felicity McNeill awarded the Public Service Medal.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, you were a finalist in the ACT Businesswoman of the Year last year, is that right?
Yes, got one better this time.
Oh, there you go. That'll be fantastic. These two particular major projects, this is a simplified price disclosure and the closing the gap issues all within the PBS, are hugely important because some of these drugs that are presently not on the PBS might cost, if you were a sufferer, up to $300,000 a year, which is obviously beyond the price of 99% of Australians. So you're doing wonderful work which makes sad lives richer or more livable by putting pharmaceuticals within their range. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms Suzanne Stein. For outstanding public service in leading consular assistance to the families of the Australian victims of Malaysia Airlines flight MH17. Ms Stein was integral in delivering on the government's commitment to bring the remains of the Australian victims of the Malaysia Airlines disaster home and to provide all possible support to their families. She diligently coordinated and led the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade's high-level support for next of kin during that time of extreme shock and uncertainty, and today we recognise her. Ms Suzanne Stein, awarded the Public Service Medal.
Well, good to see you again. You're one of those great and often unsung folks from the consular side of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. And when people lose their passports or become sick or chucked in jail or whatever, a nasty thing happens to them when they're travelling, they always look to the Department of Foreign Affairs, and there's folks like you who can help them to the degree possible. But above and beyond the call of duty comes when there's a disaster like the aftermath of MH17. And I can tell you that every last bereaved next of kin who attended the memorial service in St Patrick's Cathedral in Melbourne, not long after the disaster, spoke in the warmest terms of you and your staff. You can be so proud of what you did for our country. Well done.
Awarded the Public Service Medal, Mr Mark Withner. For outstanding public service in leading significant reform to improve the strategic approach to fraud and compliance in social security programs. Mr Withner has demonstrated high-level leadership in providing policy advice to government. Through his contributions, the Department of Human Services has achieved a range of enhanced intelligence gathering capabilities that are designed to detect and deter fraud and non-compliance. Mr Withnell has excelled in ensuring the integrity of Australia's social welfare system. Mr Mark Withnell awarded the Public Service Medal.
Yeah, now we'll do that again, this way. Since 2008, you've been the fellow behind the scenes looking after that huge amount of Commonwealth money that goes into social services, $160 billion worth of taxpayers' money, and to ensure it from all kinds of fraud, but particularly cybercrime these days, is a major, major task, and you're doing a fantastic job. I'm sure you've got a small team. Today they share your, I think, recognition, and I know that all here will appreciate the fact that somebody is looking over the shoulder of all the folks who sign cheques and send out the money. Well done.
Your Excellency, that concludes the investiture proper. I would now like to invite you to address our gathered guests.
Thank you.
I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Ngunnawal people, pay my respects to their elders past and present, and to elders from other communities who may be with us today. At this ceremony, we recognise those who, through great determination and commitment, have made an exceptional contribution to our nation. It's my privilege to invest those being honoured, and I have been able to see the pride on the faces of family and friends who are here sharing this occasion. To each recipient, Lynn and I offer our deepest congratulations, our admiration and respect. This ceremony acknowledges your sacrifices and the work you've done without thought of recognition or personal gain. Australians are fortunate to benefit from your passion, skills and dedication, and it's fitting that you've been recognised by our honours system. Honours help to define and encourage and reinforce Australian goals and ideals. And they identify role models and give the next generation something to aspire to. All those who've received awards today join the company of men and women whose actions have enriched our community and our lives. To them, I say, your commitment to excellence and to your fellow citizen is something to be revered and admired. On behalf of all Australians, I thank you for your contribution. You inspire and motivate us all to do our very best and to contribute to our great nation. I hope that you'll remember this day as a day when your nation said, thank you and well done. Congratulations.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our ceremony this morning. Could I please ask that all guests remain seated for a few moments while all of our recipients proceed to the state entrance steps to join the Governor-General and Lady Cosgrove for an official photograph. Thank you.